Welcome to Life Mastery for Women, where I help you decode the struggles in your life in the areas of health, wealth, relationships, and spirituality with mind mastery, emotional management, and meditation. Welcome to today's podcast. Hey ladies, it's Jen Mack, Lady of the Mind. Welcome to today's episode, where I hope I am finding you empowering yourself. If you're not empowering yourself, then it is my intention that in today's episode, I give you just one nugget of inspiration towards your transformation. We are living in a world that is not okay. We are living in a world that appears to not even remotely be moving towards being okay. It's kind of scary. I turned 50 in just a few weeks. And as I reflect on my upcoming half a century of being on this planet, and I think about what the world was like the earliest I can remember, back then when I was running free in the fields and playing soccer with my stepdad and my brother and going for walks down to the lake with my mom and lying in bed and reading Paddington and Tales of the Fourth Grade Nothing. And I recognize how safe the world felt. I recognize the impact of our choices and our freedoms that we had, I will say sort of have, but in this country. And I know that we have more freedoms in this country still than other countries who can't choose their religion or can't choose to step out of a certain social class or economic status. And I understand that, I get that, and that is a terrible thing in those countries, to be repressed, and for women, even in some of those countries, to be suppressed. But as I think of and this is not going to be a very political, this really is going to be about you, but I'm just setting the stage for the world that we're living in right now and how it's moving toward this place of, I want to say, a suppression. Women are now, it's going to be by state if what they choose to do with their bodies. But yet men can still go and impregnate as many women as they can without any consequence. And I heard rumor that they were going to stop child support. So if these women got pregnant, they now were not going to be supported by the men who got them pregnant. And women there's a chance of them losing the right to abort a pregnancy. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm standing in a neutral place. But I'm standing in a place of empowerment. I don't make political statements unless it directly affects me, or I look further and it directly affects women. And this directly affects women. And I think if you are a mother and you're raising a daughter, I would empower her to the ends of the earth. And I would do nothing more than to encourage you to stay in an empowered position. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, let me finish my setting the stage part. I'm not saying that I am pro-choice or pro-life, but I am pro-woman. So I guess I'd be pro-choice. I am pro-woman in her scenario, in her situation, to do what's best for her. I also, in a side note, a very close-knit side note, mind you please, that I create communities, and that's my goal, that's my mission, is to create communities of women who support one another, who, when that woman, let's say, is out in the world, does not have a community, or maybe she belongs to a church and she's 15 or 18, or doesn't matter, 38, and she gets pregnant and now doesn't want to keep that baby. She feels alone. She feels judged. She feels criticized. She feels scared. Who's her support? She turns to her church and they're probably going to tell her to abort, or they're going to tell her to keep it. Doesn't matter, whatever the church believes, but they're not going to support her in her decision in what's right for her on this planet. Now, you might also be thinking the baby has rights, and I'm 100% in agreement with that. But I'm 100% in agreement with empowering women to do what's right for them while they're here on their spiritual journey. I'm not going to say go and, if someone came to me and said, I want to abort this baby, I wouldn't say, okay, I empower you. That's not it. I would discuss, I would help de-energize some of the beliefs that are around her in raising this baby. I would get to the core of the issue of what it is and the decision that she's making of why is it that she wants to let this baby go. So I believe in empowering, and I believe in empowering women. And as I create these communities, then let's say this 15-year-old comes to our circle. Maybe her mom is a part of our group. Maybe she's 38 and she comes to our circle and she says, I have this issue. I have this problem and I need a solution. And this is one way I feel like I can solve this problem. And I say, okay, let's talk about it. Let's find the trigger. Let's find the belief. Let's find the emotional state, the emotional block of your decision. And then we remove that block. We remove that energy that says, I can't have this baby. I can't raise this baby. I am not good enough. I don't make enough money. I don't have the support. Anyway, we remove that block. And she's free and clear to make a decision, because it's when we make decisions out of fear, out of those high emotional states, that's when things go bad. That's when things get scary. That's when things maybe are decisions that are made that are not necessarily in our best interest. So what I do is help remove that blocked energy that is forcing her to think the only decision she has is to abort this pregnancy or to terminate this pregnancy, abort this baby. Once we remove it, you are free and clear. I can tell you that within a community of support, that she might make a different decision. But what I'm telling you is that comes from you as a woman on this planet to empower yourself, to choose tools, support, techniques, strategies, whatever it is that empowers you to make decisions that are best for you. You are the one on this journey. You came in here alone, you will leave this world alone. And I hope that I can impact the world enough that as women are starting to leave this planet, that they have no regrets, that they made decisions based on their love of life, and they released some of these tough emotions and these limiting beliefs and these triggers so that they could make very clean decisions for themselves. Now, when I look at the world around us, I see a couple of organizations that are controlling us, and that is the government and Big Pharma. Now, Big Pharma and their constant commercials and pushing drugs and trying to tell us that we can't do anything on our own, that we need this drug and that drug and this drug. And if you're feeling like this, which is all based in emotions, when you're feeling anxiety, take this drug. When you're feeling a little bit down, take this drug. When you have a headache, take this drug or this one. When you're feeling suicidal, take these drugs. And I feel like they are setting themselves up to enable us and to make us feel hopeless and helpless, because then they win. They're no different than a drug pusher on the street that makes it seem like you're weak. You are not weak. You are not a weak person. I do believe that there is a time and a place for medications. I do believe that. There's a time and a place. I've been in the hospital with severe pain. I've had surgeries. There was even a time after my full hysterectomy surgery that I was on an antidepressant anxiety. I went into my doctor and I said, listen, I'm not sure what's going on with my body, but I don't feel comfortable in my own skin. Now I would approach that answer or that support in a way different way than she did. She says, oh, okay, well, we'll prescribe you a antidepressant medication. I'm like, really? That's where you're going? Really? That's the very first thing you use. But if you go to a medical doctor, that's what they're going to do, right? That's what they're going to say. They're going to come to you and they're going to say, this is how I solve these problems. If you go to an acupuncturist, she's going to say, this is how I solve these problems. And if you come to me, I'm going to say, this is how I solve these problems, right? You just have to stand back and go, which one is best for me? Which solution is the very best? And sometimes it is medication for you. Sometimes it is such a raw, deep-seated emotion that is surfacing for you and you don't know any other way. What I'm trying to break through into the world of women and empowering women is there is another way. Do you need to be on medication sometimes just to really help you? Something very traumatic has happened and you need to, before you do something very drastic and hurtful to yourself, that I need to stabilize? Yes. Yes, I would support that. But then my thought is also do something that helps you to release that. Because just like medication blocks out the feeling of the nervous system, it blocks out all the highs too. So you can't feel joy. You can't feel excitement. You can't feel elation. You feel meh. And that's it. But you also don't feel those deep emotions. So I have worked with women who were on antidepressants and anti-anxiety medication, and I was on them for shy of a year, and I knew that I was not going to stay on it. And it did balance out my emotions, but I will tell you, I didn't all of a sudden move to happiness. It calmed down all of my sensations. And I'm like, well, great. Yeah, I'm not this anger and this anxiety. I'm not down there, but I'm also not up here with these really lovely emotions that could be taking place. So with that being said, there's a time and a place for it. But what I'm saying to you is not, this is how things should go. And you should never be on medication. And I'm not saying that at all. And what I'm saying is there are other ways. There are other more powerful, permanent ways. There were triggers that I had that my coach helped me to remove. And I no longer have that trigger. And that was years, 7, 8, 9 years ago. There are past memories that used to upset me when I would think about it. And I still had resentment of the person that was in there that helped create that memory. I recreated that memory and I no longer have resentment towards that person. That was years ago. The memory was created years ago and the trigger was still there. But years ago that I went through this coaching that I now teach, which I believe is even a better version of what I was taught, of how to release, recreate memories that are haunting, that when you think about them, it recreates that emotion as if you were just transported in time back to that memory, back to that scene, that still stick in your emotional body, which is your energy body. That's the place that I work. So all I'm telling you, and in these decisions, as I look around the world and I see these things that are happening and women are being targeted, and we're moving towards a place that just sort of looks like suppression to me. I don't know. I've not been in this position before. I've not been in a place where I experienced things and choices that I couldn't go and do. But I did experience that I couldn't get married to the love of my life. But at the same time, being in a committed relationship with her is important enough. Because if someone came to my house and said, you can't even live together because we know that you guys are together, then now, of course, I would feel the ramifications of that. But I'm here for you. I'm here for you as a woman on this planet. You're trying to change something, or you wouldn't be listening to this podcast. You wouldn't be listening to me. You wouldn't still be listening to this episode. You want something to change. You want to shift. You want to become empowered. When you become empowered, your whole entire life shifts and changes. You get to move to a different state of being. You get to move to a different state of choice. I have seen women that were in abusive relationships that came to my groups and they left those abusive relationships even after we de-energize, which is the word that we use to help move that stuck energy, that negative trigger or that limiting belief. When we move that out, you now are a clean slate to go, okay, now I get to make a decision from a different point of view. You still have the choice. You always have the choice. I never take the choice away. So we can de-energize all kinds of things that are going on in your current relationship. And you go, wait, I'm not ready to get a divorce. I'm not saying you have to. We're just going to remove the emotion of it so you can make a clearer choice. It's an amazing, amazing feeling, but even more so, it's an amazing impact on you. And the impact that it makes on you is it puts you in total control in an easy, clear way. So now you can make a decision from a standing point that is clear. So picture yourself driving in the country with no time. You're not going anywhere. Maybe you're by yourself or you're with somebody who's very easygoing and you're just enjoying your day. And you have no time frame and you're not trying to meet friends someplace. You don't have to be home at a certain time. It's just this wide open drive. And you come to an intersection and you guys look at each other or you think to yourself, which way should I go? And you just go. You just make a decision from ease and you just go. That's the power of the work I do. That's the power of being empowered. You just make decisions with ease. You don't make decisions from anger. You don't make decisions from fear or from disappointment or revenge. You just clearly make the decision that's best for you. Now just think about that. What if you could make decisions like that forever and always about your relationships, about your job, about entrepreneurial decisions that you have to make, about how you handle your kids when they come home late or you find out things about them that you disagree with, or making decisions about your own body? What if you could just make a decision from this clear point of view? It'd be amazing, wouldn't it? You could do anything. Do you remember the quote that says, if money weren't an option, what would you do? It's removing that element of fear. And when you're able to remove that element of fear, you are truly empowered. It's not saying that there's not emotion in there, that you could do something and still feel like, oh my gosh, I'm going to go in this direction because it feels a little scary. But on the other side, it really feels exciting. Like your emotions are still there. You are felt. You're a clean and clear vessel. It's like when you're out camping or out gardening and you're sweaty and you're dirty and you got, leaves and dirt and sand stuck to you and you go and take a shower. How amazing you feel afterwards. That's what I'm talking about. So how do we become empowered? First of all, you make a choice from a place, wherever you're at in your life, that says, you know what? I'm ready to feel better. I'm ready to be happy. I'm ready to feel abundance. I'm ready to feel connected. What is it that you want? What do you want to feel? How do you want to feel? I love feeling empowered because it's a sensation of confidence, but I didn't always have it. I always wanted someone else to make decisions for me. I wanted someone else to tell me what to do until I got in relationships where that person was driving the car and I'm like, wait, I wanted to turn left right there. And she's like, well, we're not turning left. We're going this way. And I'm like, wait, okay, well, I want to drive. She's like, well, no, you're not driving. I'm driving. I'm like, oh, crap. So it wasn't until I decided to drive that my life shifted. When I decided to get in the driver's seat, but I had to get into this place of confidence. I had to say to myself, listen, I am not a person who is constantly going to be told what to do in all ways. I am a person who wants to lead in my life. And in leading in my life, I became empowered. Now I made decisions, and sometimes those decisions turned out great, and sometimes they didn't. But it's okay, because every decision is a lesson. Every decision is something to learn about you. You can handle it. It was scary. You were embarrassed, but you survived, right? So ask yourself, what is it that you're tired of experiencing? And then ask yourself, what are you going to do about it? And I don't mean do about the situation. What are you going to do about you? You don't have to make a decision, but maybe this is a place to learn something new. When we're faced with a problem, just like when the kids go from 3rd grade to 4th grade, it's a whole new set of problems, right? Social problems, academic problems. And now they have to take the foundation of the math they learned and now apply it to this new math. They have to take the social cues that they just learned in 3rd grade and apply them to now 4th grade. And on it goes. Life is no different. You might be in 10th grade right now, sort of like in 10th grade life. Meaning when you're faced with a problem, it's like moving on to the next grade. So what do I have to do? What do I have to learn? And stand back and go, okay, here's the situation with my husband. Here's the situation with my job or my money or my kids. And stand back and ask yourself, what do I need to learn? And then ask yourself, what do I need to release? Because it might actually be release first. Release, learn, do. What do I have to do? So what do I have to release? Well, I have to release that, I have complete control of my kids and everything I think that they should do, they're going to do. I mean, they're just resisting, right? They're resisting direction because they have to find their own way. They have their own compass. Their story is different than yours. So what do I have to release? Then what do I have to learn? Because there's always a skill. There's always a new way, new something to learn and how to manage yourself in the world around you, because things are always changing. As soon as as a parent you get used to the terrible 2s, well, then they hit 3 and 4 and you're like, oh my God, what's all this new stuff? And then they hit 13 and 14. Then they hit 21 and 22. Okay. So there's always things to learn about how to engage with the world around you. You should always, always, always be learning new things. Then you go, okay, what do I have to learn? How do I Google this? Where do I go? How do I get support for this? Who can help me? Then what is it that I do? What can I do? And it's in the doing, through this other process of releasing and learning, that we create the doing that is now going to have a greater impact. Because if I just don't release and I don't learn and I just go right to doing, all I'm doing is butting up against the problem, right? We've all done that. We're in a relationship. Maybe they're not treating us so great. Maybe they're a bunch of ding-dongs. They're doing whatever they're doing. They're creating whatever they're creating. And I go, I'm just going to do something, right? I'm going to make a drastic move. I'm going to file for divorce. I'm going to cheat on him because he did it to me. I'm going to take our kids and run to Arizona. I'm going to do something, okay? But instead, what you do now, because you've done something without doing the other steps, is you've just recreated the scenario at a different timeline. Now you're in Arizona with the kids and you're going to date somebody new, and the same thing is going to happen because you have the same point of attraction in your energy. You have the same point of attraction, meaning you have the same energy that is attracting this scenario. If you don't release that, you're going to continue to recreate it. Do you remember, I'm not making enough money in this job, so I quit this job and I get a new job that pays more, and all of a sudden within several months, I also don't make enough money for this job. So I'm going to quit again and move on to another job. That's what I did. 37 times. 37 jobs. And then when I asked myself these 3 questions, what do I have to release? I have to release my victim mentality, that it's not the jobs, it's me. I have to take responsibility. What do I have to learn? I have to learn money management skills. What do I have to do? I have to start managing my money. So when money comes in, it gets divided into these different categories based on a percentage, whether it's $200 that comes in or $20,000. It doesn't matter. Whatever that money that comes in, I have to manage it. Now, what I was doing before is I wasn't releasing anything. I was blaming my boss. I was blaming the economy. I was blaming the coworkers for getting more hours than me. I was blaming the government that they wouldn't raise the minimum wage. And I wasn't learning any new skills. All I was doing was doing, which was, I'm going to quit this job because I don't make enough money. And I'm going to quit this job because I don't make enough money. And then I'm going to quit this job because I don't make enough money. All in the sidelines, I was like, I'm going to be an entrepreneur so I can create my own money and not have a ceiling. And I did that. I've done that since the 90s, go and try. And then I just either didn't like the thing I chose. It wasn't easy. I didn't do very good. Most of the time I didn't make money. I didn't know what I was doing, right? But when I do it this way, when I release the thing first, when I release the trigger, I release the thought, I release the blame, the victimhood mentality, the poor me, the lack of responsibility. When I release that and I put in something empowering like confidence, like self-love, like self-respect, I now am moving to a place of empowerment. And then I learn something new. There's always something to learn. If you're not ready to learn something, then you have to go back a step and say, I have to be willing to release something. And then from there, now you can do something else. This is very interesting. I find this to be quite empowering. If you were to take that thing, no matter what it is, you're trying to lose weight, fine. You're trying to make more money. You're trying to be more satisfied in your job. You're trying to be a better parent. You're trying to be satisfied in your relationship with your spouse. Whatever it is, what am I needing to release? And remember, release doesn't mean that all of a sudden you're giving in or saying it's okay for someone to treat you like that or whatever. It just releases the stuck energy so you stop recreating the same scenario. Okay, that's all that does. Then you can make a different choice. Okay, that's all that does. And so, now what? Now, what do I have to learn? Now, I will tell you this. The learning isn't always my place of expertise, depends on what it is. But I do have a lot of, because I solved a lot of problems on my own when it came to parenting, when it came to relationships, when it came to money, when it came to business. So I have lots of areas of expertise, all because I came up against these problems. So I used to teach parenting. I used to teach things about relationships. Eventually, I will teach things about business. I don't feel like I've learned enough yet in the business department to teach it. I mean, I can teeny tiny little bits, about what I've learned so far, but I wouldn't consider myself an expert yet. I'm still learning, probably 4th grade in business, I'd say. So, but there are lots of things that I can teach. So now I ask you, do you need some support with releasing? Like I was talking about, is releasing, balancing the chakras, releasing the triggers that are blocking you, that are in your emotional body, that are continuing to recreate the same scenario. If you need help, go to Facebook, go to Lady Rising, join our sister circle. That's a good entry level to get to know me better, to become a part of a supportive, loving, accepting community, a sister community. No matter what it is that you're going through, be a part of our group. We support you. We 100% accept. And it's so amazing because it is non-judgmental. There's a group, a private group that I'm a part of that teaches about creating sister circles. And I wanted to join one. And I had the same hesitancy that possibly you have if you've not joined one of the calls yet, is I was afraid. I'm afraid that they're going to judge me. And I will tell you this, because I have that same belief that they're going to judge me, that I make it absolute point that is not accepted in my calls. Every single person that's been on my calls has said, I can't believe how much I feel safe on these calls, because that's what I do, because I need to feel safe as a participant. And so I turn that around and I make sure that the women on the calls feel safe. Then after that, what is it that you have to learn? Some of this I think you could get intuitively. Some of it you might just have to Google. You might have to take a class. Maybe you could ask me a question. I know a lot about a lot. So it depends on what you're going through. I'm happy to help. I was a personal trainer. I can help you lose weight. I used to teach parenting classes. I can help you with parenting. And I'm a relationships expert, so I can help you with your relationships. So that's kind of what I offer. Now, the business side of things, I can give you some advice, but I can help you tap into your intuition. And I can certainly give you some ideas. I'm highly resourceful in that way. But either way, allow me to serve you. If this is something that you resonate with, of what it is that I'm saying or sharing with you, please go to Facebook, type in Lady Rising, join our community, and then join one of our sister calls. We usually have them anywhere between 2 and 3 times a month. So you can hop on any call and know that you will be fully supported on the call. So I look forward to hearing from you. And if you want to have any kind of a chat, send me a message, send me a friend request. I have other programs that take this de-energizer and recreating memories and removing limiting beliefs and releasing those tough emotionals from emotional pain and emotional trauma. If that's where you're at, I have a group coaching program. Send me a message. I'll let you know when the one starts, and we'll have a chat on the phone to see what I can do to help you and if my program would be a good fit. I look forward to chatting with you. Please go out there and have an empowered day. If you liked this episode and you look forward to future episodes and are really looking for a community to help support you with implementing the tools that we're talking about in this podcast, please consider joining our online sister community called Lady Rising on Facebook, where we focus on that spiritual support and connection, just like in today's episode. I hope you'll join us. Go to Facebook, type in Lady Rising, and tell me you came in through the podcast.